Super Smash Bros.
Hello, and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about Super Smash Bros. For 3DS. For the Nintendo 3DS. A great naming job there. But hell, you know what was on, I guess. Good enough for that. I guess. A few things up front. I think first of all I want to say that I'm going to assume for this review that you've either read my written reviews or watched my video reviews, or just know about the previous games in the series, because I talked about them and it's kind of all building blocks. So I'm not going to cover everything all over again. Go back and check those out, because they're all here, and I actually did them all this week. This is the last video in Smash Week. So, the last day for all these videos of Smash Week. So go ahead and look at my previous uploads to check out those previous reviews and some other videos I sprinkled in there for fun. If you guys have been watching, thank you. I guess that's I think that's everything that I wanted to preface this with this time. So I think I caught it all. Yeah. So actually, I might not have. Did I mention there's a written review? I think I said that in the beginning. I restarted because I missed one of the things. But if I didn't say it, I'm repeating myself now, so it's covered either way. No more restarts. Written review is down. A link to it is in the description, so you can watch that before, after, or instead of this review. And, again, sorry if I said that twice, but I couldn't remember if I said it in this take or the previous take. Anyways, now that I've got all the babble out of the way and wasted all of your time, let's go into this review. So the gameplay is about the same in this one as it is in the previous ones. A notable change, I guess, would be that in the main gameplay is that a change from Brawl was that this no longer has pratfalls, which, thank fuck, because those were stupid as shit. That's a nice change. Also, I think visually there's a little bit of a change in that the representation, it's a little bit more bright and cartoony again this time around, rather than being quite as dark as Brawl, so there's that little change. I don't know, there's that. More characters, again, a lot more characters here. I think there's probably a similar amount of stages, maybe there's more, but I think it's a comparable amount of stages and items. So they didn't go too overboard with some of that. And there's some modes here that have come back, you'd be used to. There's a regular Smash mode, which is just, the standard multiplayer, and you can do some different options in there. There's still All-Star mode. There's a Classic mode, which is pretty similar, except there's some branching paths, and you can get some other cool rewards for playing that. Most of the game modes give you rewards of stuff, and we'll get into that a little bit more later on this, but those modes are still here. Home Run Contest is still here. Still have fun with that. And Multi-Man Smash is still here. It's just like Multi-Man Melee and Multi-Man Brawl, except they put the name Smash over it. And there's one new thing in that where it's the new one for this is Rival Smash, where basically you and there's a computer of you there, and you're both trying to get KOs on this team with really fragile opponents, and you can attack each other as well, so you're trying to get more kills than your opponent. You can also kill your opponent multiple times, but once you die, then it's over, and that's the score, and so that's an interesting little thing they threw in there as well. So a lot of stuff carries over in those similar modes. One of the new modes they have in here is Street Smash, which uses the 3DS's Street Pass capabilities. And basically what happens is whenever people have Street Pass enabled and people go by you, they get tagged, and then their little avatars or whatever are put into there. And then when you turn it on again, you can play Street Smash. And there's these little circular icons, and you can shoot your icon across this playing area and try and hit the other icons and get their circles out of there. That's the entire thing, is doing that. And you can hit them, and you can try to move around and try to block and counter. So it's a pretty simple little mini game they threw in for to make use of Street Pass. I don't know. There's also Target Blast, which is kind of similar to Home Run Contest, except you're beating up a bomb. You're doing a bunch of damage to this bomb on the platform, and then you don't get it bad in this one either. So basically, you try to hit the bomb before the time runs out, because the timer is right on the bomb. That's when the bomb's going to explode. And you hit it out of the play area into the field here, and then there's a bunch of basically wooden structures here. And there's a bunch of targets in between them and some smaller bombs that you can set off. And breaking the stuff, with the debris and the explosion of your big bomb, the contact of your big bomb, and jostling those other little bombs and making those explode. All that stuff goes into, making stuff fly around and trying to break all of the targets that are on the screen. So it's kind of like a mix between Angry Birds and Break the Targets, I guess. So that's another mode that's there as well. And I think there's also an interesting thing I should mention about, like I said, a classic mode. The other thing I said, there's branching paths. I just remember this too. I should probably mention is that there's a difficulty meter on it, and it's like basically there's a normal difficulty of it. If you want to go easier than that, or if you want to go harder than that, you got to spend gold, which you get through playing pretty much every mode in the game. Using that gold, if you do a harder difficulty, it costs more gold to do, but you'll get better rewards. If you do that, so it's an interesting thing. And if you die, you get stuff taken away. If you just leave, you'll get some of that taken away. But if you keep fighting, keep dying, then the difficulty will keep going down, and you'll keep losing stuff. So I don't know. It's a kind of a thing about like give and take there. And that stuff's all pretty cool. I think for the most part it works pretty well. And I think I also want to bring up now, which is some of my favorite parts of this, which is why I'm kind of excited to try to hit all this in a nice stride. But there's just basically there's these customization options you can do. You can customize most of the game's characters, and you can do this thing where you can change their specials. Each one of them has a variant on their specials. They have 3 different versions of their specials. There's a standard one that's for most playing, and then there's 2 variants, I guess, for each one of those, really, after that. And you'll unlock those through playing the game as well. So you can kind of customize, what moves you want those characters to have. You can also put equipment on them. Again, you get that through playing most of the modes as well. Putting the equipment on them will alter their stats, so you can alter their... They have 3 stats, which are attack, defense, and speed. Stuff that ups the attack usually decreases defense. Stuff that ups defense usually decreases speed, and stuff that ups speed usually decreases attack. So it's kind of a natural balancing act with these. And you can only equip 3 pieces of equipment. So you have to kind of decide. And you get a bunch of open slots. Each character, I believe, has 10 slots for customizing them. So you can customize those in any way you see fit. And some of the pieces of equipment even have little bonuses on them too. Sometimes it's a good thing, you have better jump, and sometimes it's a bad thing, you have a decreased shield regeneration, something like that. And depending on what those are, they can also change the numbers of it. The actual numbers of what goes up and what goes down, which can make it, again, part of the balancing, where it's if you get a nice perk, it might make the boost you get, or smaller, and the detriment larger. And if it gives you some kind of penalty, those are usually probably have a better split on them. So it's an interesting thing to kind of think about if you want to be balanced or focused on a certain way. And if it's cohesive to the certain kind of the character you're picking and the kind of moves you got, a lot of stuff going into that. It's a lot. Plus, you can make your own characters with Mii fighters, which, again, there's only 10 slots, but you can use, whatever Mii that you have on your device. Pick your Mii, and then you can turn them into either a gunner, a brawler, or a sword fighter. And the gunner has this hand cannon, similar to like Samus or Mega Man, which, by the way, Pac-Man and Mega Man are in this game. That's pretty cool that they made an appearance. Other non-Nintendo characters like that. But like that, like an arm cannon, kind of like that. The sword fighter has a sword. That was my favorite of them, was the sword fighter. And the brawler uses their fists and feet, basically. And you can change their different specials with them as well, because each one comes with their own set of standard attacks based on whichever template of fighter you choose. But then all the specials you can pick. And then, of course, again, you can do equipment on them as well. But it's cool because then you can further customize those characters by picking out their outfit and their headgear, and you will not, again, lock those by playing the game. And so you can change their different appearances, the different Mii's for the appearances, plus what they're wearing, and then all these different little things in here to give you a lot of customization options. And the one other thing you can customize with this is also Smash Run powers. You can equip them with those, which you can use by hitting the touchscreen during Smash Run to try and activate those powers to help you out. And at this point, you're probably wondering, well, what the fuck is Smash Run? And I'm going to tell you that Smash Run is the coolest, unique thing about this game. Is that in Smash Run, basically, you go into this big map. It's kind of similar to like Subspace Emissary kind of thing, where you're in this map with a bunch of these minor characters from other games, and you're trying to kill all of those characters. And you're running around exploring this map. At the same time, while other characters are doing the same stuff as well, just not, on their own maps. Be them other players or, just computers. Killing enemies and opening chests can get you stuff like... most often there'll be like these power-ups that'll up your stats. So there's things that'll boost your speed, your jump, your attack, your arms, which I think are projectile things, I'm not exactly sure, your special, and your defense. All that stuff can be upped. A lot of these power-ups are also kind of scattered throughout the level and kind of randomized between the layouts, as the layout of the whole place is sort of randomized a little bit each time as well, and what enemies will pop up and all that. That's not one thing you get from defeating enemies and opening up treasure chests. Another thing is there's also this looting thing where you can find these little bags, and sometimes they'll just be bags of money, which you'll get coins at the end of the match for those. Sometimes they'll be bags with question marks on them, that'll give you new Smash Run powers, so you can have better customization of what you want on you, and that's also determined by, how many things you can carry is kind of determined by what your defense stat is, how many items you can carry is kind of related tied into that, so that's part of customizing as well if you're using Smash Run. And sometimes you can get custom parts as well. And custom parts are basically, in this game, means that it can be anything like, it can be those new special moves, those custom special moves. It could be outfits, it could be headgear, it could be any of those. And the little bags for Smash Run stuff, those just Smash Run. I think those are all the things it could be. So there's a lot of stuff it could be. Also there are these... challenge rooms here, like basically these challenge doors that are just hanging out. You go in there, you go into a challenge room, and you might have to do something like break targets or destroy these crystals or just survive, and you have a time limit to do this stuff. That's kind of a neat thing. And if you complete the challenge, then you'll be rewarded with a chest, and you'll get some stat boosts out of the chest, and probably some loot as well. So that's an interesting thing to do that. And this whole thing goes on for 5 minutes. After that, you'll then be put into one of a variety of challenges, or events, or however you want to call them. Matches, I guess. And sometimes it could be a normal, like, stock match or a timed match where you just fight each other with whatever your stat boosts happen to be. Sometimes there's a foot race, sometimes there's this climbing race where you're jumping up as high as you can. There's a variety of different things you can do. Sometimes you're just fighting more an onslaught of, the really fragile fighting Mii's, or the, enemy characters, the minor enemy characters you've been fighting anyway, in like a, closed off arena. It could be any number of things. That's... I don't know, it's just kind of cool because then it's like, do you want to specialize or be well-rounded, or like, what's going to pay off and what's going to be a gamble? I don't know. It kind of keeps the mystery going, and it's a really fun thing to just jump into now and then. Or like, it's just kind of a fun little thing. I'm just going to mess around and do that. So I guess there's that whole thing. As Smash Run is a whole lot of stuff kind of rolled into one, and I feel like everything is very cohesive towards that Smash Run mode. It's very much the shining element of this game to me. There's also online play you can do on here, which you're able to connect, and play online. And unlike Brawl, which was a laggy, broken mess, while it can still be laggy, at least the way this lags is that it slows down so that everyone seems kind of even. So it's not terrible. It's definitely playable, but it's not great. You can do local play, I think, as well with other people who are, close to you and have a 3DS system, like in the same room or whatever, to do that, but I haven't really tried that. For online, you can also pick if you're just going to play online, which you can do Smash Run online, and you can do a couple other modes online as well. But one of the things you can do, like for online play too, is you can pick for glory or for fun are the two main modes for online. And you can do like single or team battle or whatever. But I think for glory, I'm pretty sure it's just one-on-one. It's one-on-one combat, and there are no items, and you only play on the what is it, on the Omega versions of stages, and those are basically just, all the stages have this Omega version that basically turns it into like this flat thing, kind of like Final Destination, and there's no really obstacles or anything, and then it's just, like just different backdrops for all of them to play on. If you play for fun, then it's, any of the stages, the normal versions of stages with stage hazards and with items on and all that, because it's just to have some fun. And also part of this is conquests, where basically conquests are a thing that's just kind of passively ongoing, where they arbitrarily pick, like, it's a whatever event, like it's, say, like red characters versus blue characters, so any characters that are predominantly wearing red are counted under the red team, and any characters who are predominantly wearing blue are under the blue team. So whenever you do a match facing off against, strangers, then it's like, okay, well, you're doing this match, and like say like, oh, I picked Mario in this match, well then I'm contributing points, based on how I perform in there, I'm contributing points towards the red team. And if I picked like Sonic, it'd be contributing towards the blue team, and it's like, well, whichever one I contribute the most points to, and you can only do it once every like 16 hours, so you can't like, do it a ton or something, I don't know, try to keep it fair, I guess, because it runs for a certain period of time. And by the end, whichever one you contribute more points to, that's the one that you support. And if you contribute more points to the winning team, then you'll get a little reward for that too. You can get stuff like custom items or those coins or whatever, so that's there. Another mode that's in here, I guess I kind of forgot about. God, there's a lot of stuff in these games, man. I gotta keep up with them. One of the things is, with coins, you can do, like, for one thing, there's a trophy shop, which you can go into and try to buy trophies. I mean, again, you get trophies in most of the modes, which I guess you can get trophies in Smash Run as well. You get trophies in most of the modes for doing stuff, they'll just pop up here and there. And, you can go to the trophy shop, and basically, every time you go there, if you played a few matches or something, or spend so much time in battles, it'll switch out this stock of there are always 6 trophies available, and it's a good place to go, and you can spend those, or even your 3DS Play coins, to try and just to buy all these different trophies, and it's a good way to try to get all these trophies you don't have, because the odds of getting new ones aren't necessarily always that great, Though I noticed only so many of them will show up in that shop, so you can also use those coins to play Trophy Rush. You need to set them out to get the bare minimum 30 seconds to do it, and then you can pay in more to get extra time before you start. In Trophy Rush, basically you're on this platform, and you're just trying to break all these different blocks to fill up this meter, and then you'll go into, once it's full, you go into Fever Mode. And once that happens, a lot of these little prize blocks will fall down with things in them, like coins and trophies and custom parts. And you try to get all those. If you stay in place too long, then nasty ball of lightning comes going, straight down out of that spot. So you got to move around every now and again, so you don't, just get hit for doing that. Also, if the blocks pile up over the line on the top of the screen, if they stay there for too long, then the floor disappears, you fall down, you die. Sometimes bombs are falling down there too, a lot you have to knock those off or destroy them. Because if you get knocked off and, you fall down, whatever, you die in this mode, then you lose like 15 seconds of playtime. So that's something to consider as well. So that's also another mode. And I think I've hit pretty much all the modes. And then there's also challenges in the game. Those are back. And there are 3 different panels of challenges. Once you complete all the challenges in the first panel, it unlocks the second panel. Once you unlock a certain number of them in the second panel, it opens up the third panel. And they kind of gradually get harder as they go. But this is where I think the game starts to kind of take a turn with those. So with the challenges, I want to say that... well, I mean, they work pretty much the same way as challenges worked in Brawl, I guess. Once you start unlocking them, they'll show them pop up, and then it shows other ones around them that give you like the what you need to do to unlock those challenges. It gives you the requirements. You usually get things like trophies and powers and what else? Oh, there's no stickers in this game, mind that, but you can get trophies and Smash Run powers and custom pieces. Those are the most common stuff you're going to get. I think there might be a stage or 2 there. So there's some stuff there you can get. And I guess one of the downsides starts to be that the first panel is all is all like basically they're tutorial things, which is kind of nice. Like, because then it makes you kind of experiment, try out different modes, and just see what the game has to offer, you know. Play as this character a few times, you know, play this stage a few times, try this mode for the first time. There's a lot of those going on there, so it's not really that hard to get all of those. They're just kind of trying to introduce you to the game. And then there's the second panel, which is full of mostly these endurance challenges, I feel like. A lot of those are endurance challenges, and some in the third panel as well. Well, a lot of it turns into stuff like, you know, play this mode with every character, and like a lot of those, or play for X amount of hours and do all this, you know, get all of this and get this many trophies and stuff. And it's like, well, that's a lot. It's one where it's like, for both of these, it's like the tutorial things aren't really there to challenge you. And those endurance ones aren't really so much of a challenge. You know, they're not difficult to do. Because a challenge is something that's difficult but yet fair. And these things are just things to do. They're not challenging. They're just, you know, there's the tutorial ones which are really easy, and then the second panel is a lot, you know, I don't know, like, and third stuff. A lot of those are, like, endurance ones are just kind of, like, not really challenges, they're just, I don't know, they just make you play the game a lot, I guess. And, the thing that was really annoying, though, is that you still get the hammers, right? There you get 3 hammers per panel. And the hammers work the same way. You can break open, I believe it's still 3 panels for every, 3 hammers for every panel. You get to break open those things on there, some certain challenges. The thing that's annoying, though, is that there are a few challenges, a select few that won't let you break them with the hammer. You have to complete them yourself. And that's annoying because they're some of the most difficult challenges in the game, the ones where you'd actually want to use the fucking hammer on them. So it means that really the only reason you would use the hammers is to not do annoying stuff. And at that point it might as well just be like, why bother having the hammers then anyway if they're not gonna actually help me do that. You know, like, that was very frustrating, to have that there, as a roadblock, because I was counting on those and then it didn't work on the challenge I wanted it to. So that's a little ridiculous, but, I don't know, that could have been better. But it's not a huge deal. I mostly used it to skip over the Street Smash challenges, because I don't really like Street Smash. It doesn't really use the mechanics of the game. Like, yeah, it might kind of be like, I think Home Run Contest isn't that great, or Target Blast is kind of stupid also. But at least they use the mechanics of the game in an interesting way. That's kind of what makes it fun, is using these ideas in different ways. Like Smash Run, same thing. Customizing characters, a similar thing. I was like, let's just find new and interesting ways to use the Smash Bros. Mechanics. And then Street Smash comes along and says, you know what, let's just make a totally stupid minigame that just we tacked on so people can use Street Pass. I like the you know, the rendition of the Smash Bros. Theme in it, but other than that, it's pretty simplistic and not very fun at all. So, I mean, that's horrible. Also, while it is really fun to customize all that stuff, it's a little annoying, because, like, it took a long time to get all of those custom moves. The most consistent way I found to do it, and maybe there's some better way, but I don't know if it would be as consistent, because I'm not a great player. The most consistent way I found to do it was to play Smash Run a dick load, and I eventually got them all, but it took so long, to do, and it would have been a little bit nicer to have it take just a little bit less time than that. Also, I think there's a lot of, I think I said that online is kind of laggy, there's that issue, and also it's kind of hard to play with other people because, you know, it's like, you know, with like a console version, like, say, the Wii U version that came out later, it's like you could always play on the TV, easy to do that, right? You have all these different kinds of things you can use for controllers and all that, and here it's like, even if you're in the same room with someone, you have to, like, both have a 3DS, and you both, you know, sync up with each other, and to play it, or if you want to do, like, you know, I don't know, like, it's not the same as both, like, playing on the same screen and looking at that. It's a little different, and, I mean, I haven't really tried it, but, you know, I know the experience is a little different than, like, playing on the same screen. And it requires more stuff, so you each have to have, you know, the game and that, so it's a whole thing. So that's a little bit of a shame. It's more of a single-player kind of experience, I feel like, because of that, or more reserved to online if you want to do multiplayer. So that was a little bit of a bummer. I don't know. There's some other point that I was about to bring up before I found that out, and now I lost my train of thought on what I was going to say. It's not like that bad of a game or anything. What the fuck was I gonna say? Now I fucking feel like a jackass. Oh, and I remembered now. I'm just not even going to cut that. I'm just going to leave it because I only paused for like a few seconds, right? We're just going to go to a real person, real people. Lose their train of thought. Got to talk about it before I forget it again. There's the other thing is like these downsides. I guess are just some stuff that they kind of took out. There's no event matches here. I thought those were really interesting from the previous games, and they're not in the 3DS version. What else? There's event matches are gone. There's no real campaign or story thing like a Subspace Emissary. So like that's gone, and I do miss that. And there's no stage builder, which I miss that too. I think those all would have been really cool things to have in it, but there's only so much space on a 3DS cartridge, and that's why, and that's where you really start to see some limitations. Where while everything is very balanced and the characters are really balanced, stuff looks really good, and there's like all the different themes and all this stuff going in here, all these modes, all this shit to play, all this shit to do. This is where you start to see it when they had to take out certain modes rather than just building on top of everything like they kind of pretty much how they did with all the other games. You have to make cuts somewhere. Also, the visual presentation, which I will kind of admit that maybe it's better if you have a 3DS XL or like a new 3DS or something, but like it's a little it's kind of hard to see at times. You might lose your character. I think visually, like, it looks pretty bright and detailed and everything. Looks more cartoony, and I like that style, but it can be hard to see. That's why I turn the outlines on my characters on to be the thick outlines, so it's easier to see them. Also, performance-wise, there's a lot of load screens that happen, and they don't take a really long time, but they do take some time. Maybe it's better if you play on the new 3DS, because then it's a better processor. I don't think it takes as long to load. And the loading time will add up. It's not a big deal, but it is kind of a thing. Plus, the performance can be kind of strange sometimes, where like even just playing, offline, playing the regular stuff, every now and again it'll stutter a bit when it has to load too much stuff, and it'll I've had it freeze on me a couple times, where the loading thing came up and the screen just stayed blank with the loading thing spinning and it never loaded anything. So, it happened a couple times. I think it was just from doing a bunch of different custom stuff all at once. It's probably not a huge bug. It probably doesn't happen a lot, but it's, it happens. So, the game isn't totally perfect, I guess, is pretty much the point, is that it's not perfect, but there's a shitload that I like about this game. So, like, you just keep it all in mind. Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. I think it says Nintendo in there too. That's crazy. This game is awesome. There's so much in here. Like, I have played a bit of the Wii version. I played like 8 to 10 hours or something of that, and I can't really judge it as a whole because I haven't put enough time into it. I don't have a Wii U. I was at a friend's place, but I will say that while that's probably objectively a better game with being able to play, locally a lot easier and just sit back and play it and, and to be able to have all that extra content that's on there, I think this is a version I like better because it has the same core gameplay, the same great balancing on the gameplay. I like playing as a lot of these characters. Like, Brawl, I was like, I'll play as like 4 or 5 characters. Here, I'll play as almost all of the characters, and it's like, they're fun. And it's like, I want to try all these different characters. Being able to make my characters and customize all the characters, oh, I fucking loved that shit. That was awesome. Omega stages are kind of stupid, but they're okay for people who want to have different backdrop to playing on, and it's nice that they try to accommodate, competitive players, because that also is, a set of players, and I think it was weird that they tried to alienate them before as well. So much awesome stuff in this game. I love it. Being able to play it, just like sit like like on the go or just hanging out. I played a lot of it watching TV and like I guess more appropriately watching a lot of stuff on the internet, just like half paying attention to one and the other. So really fun. You can play it when you're taking a dump. It's totally all kinds of places you play it on your 3DS. It's great. It does take up kind of a lot of space with the updates, and the DLC thing is a mess. You shouldn't have to pay all that money for extra characters and stuff. They should have just put it in the game or waited for the next one, but, the whole DLC thing is a trend. I don't want to harp on that too much, because I've been yakking at you guys for way too long already. But yeah, there was just so much to say about this. I'm sorry I couldn't make it shorter because I tried to say it, as effectively as possible. Lost my train of thought a couple times, went back and forth on myself, whatever. But we got through it. We got here, and gosh, if anybody watches this video, I'm gonna be surprised because nobody likes half-hour videos, and this looks like that's about how long this is gonna be. So yeah, what did you guys think of this game? I gotta say, this is probably my favorite Smash Bros. Game that I've played. This is absolutely fantastic. Can't believe something this amazing can be on the 3DS. It's a must-have. New game price is $40. Definitely get it for that, if not cheaper from a used copy or something. It's great. And just get it, just do it. If you have both, if you haven't had both a 3DS and a Wii U, and if you feel like you have to get both versions, because I would probably recommend just getting the Wii version instead of this. If you did I say Wii U version? But if you feel like you want to have both of them, feel like you have to have both, which is probably okay, I guess, because then if you buy DLC, it only costs a little bit more to get it for both of them. If you want to get both, you feel like you need to get both. I would say get the physical copy on the Wii U, and then you can trade it, and not really trade it necessarily. I guess you could trade it in later if you don't like it later on, and you could borrow it. You could lend it to a friend, and bring it to a friend's place and play it on their system and stuff too, which is more accessible that way. It makes more sense that you'd be doing that. Whereas I feel like a 3DS version is something you'll probably be mostly playing by yourself anyway. Just get it digitally. It's probably going to take up a lot of space, especially with the updates and everything. But if you get it digitally, then it's just on you all the time. And you can have your main game in there, and if you're just out and about, or you're just I just want to play a little bit of Smash Bros. On the side here, or do something on there, like play a match or two, then you can just pull it up and play it on that. And I think that's one of the perfect titles for that to just leave as hey, whenever you want to play it, as long as I have my system on me, I can play that one. So I'm going to say that. Also, if you guys want to say anything, what are your thoughts on this versus the Wii U version? I'm really interested in that. And what's your favorite mode in this? I fucking love Smash Run. What's your favorite aspect about the game in general? I guess I'll ask you that. I love Smash Run, and customizing characters is great. And creating my own characters, of course. And I think and favorite character in the game, and mine is probably Link. I love playing as Link. He's awesome. And I will say that I was kind of wondering, should I play this game? When I was talking about it, it's should I, not should I play this game? I was thinking, sorry, I'm trying to go fast. I'm getting ahead of myself. I was thinking about, when am I going to be complete with this game, done with this game? When is it going to be, I'm finished? There's not, a story mode, and unlike these other Smash games, I played those a shitload over time. This one is newer, and I was when am I going to think is enough time that I'll be experienced enough to do this? And basically, after playing through and completing every single fucking challenge, and getting all of the trophies in the game, I decided, yeah, that's probably enough. It took a long time. I believe it's 64 hours of just in-game, in battles. And then I think it was about over 150 hours. They've been 155 or something, over 150 hours of just generally having the game on and playing it. So, just game time. Which includes, customizing characters, doing all that other shit. So there's a lot of stuff there, and it's even fun just looking at the stats and, the progression and everything. It always made it feel like I was doing something with the game. It never felt like anything I did was just, in the void. I just did that for nothing. And, I don't need that necessarily, but it was really nice to have that, because it just makes it feel all the more satisfying. So, yeah, it's a must-have for 3DS owners. Definitely get it. It's super fucking impressive. It's great. And I think I've talked enough. If you want to check out that written review, if there's anything else I could have possibly missed, it's going to be in there, I guess. Check that out. It's in the description below. Link to that. And also check out the rest of the week earlier that I did for other Smash videos on the other, on other stuff about the games and reviewing the other games. And I'll get to the Wii U version if I ever get a Wii U and can play the game to do that. But at this point, this is where it ends. Thanks for checking out this video and listening for this goddamn long, and smash on. Smash on. Man, I wish I had the box for this.
Super Smash Bros.